How you doing, everyone? Welcome back. First of all, apologies for not getting any content out for the last several days. It's been almost a week. I apologize for that. Been busy with some things here around the house, and that's not a good excuse for not making content. So I'm going to get better about that. Anyway, that's not what this video is about. This video is about, as you've probably heard, the government is shut down, which I've already done a video on that, the government being shut down. And forget about whose fault it is for a minute, right? Forget about whose fault it is that the government is shut down. There are certain funds already allocated. There are emergency funds available. And yet, the President of the United States has decided not to use those funds for SNAP benefits for hungry people. SNAP, if you're unaware, stands for Supplemental Nutritional Assistance Program, also known as food stamps, right? So there are about 42 million Americans that are on SNAP. That's about 12% of our population. About 12% of our population relies on SNAP benefits. You know, and a lot of those are children, right? So, if we have 42 million Americans, about 12% of our population, receiving SNAP benefits, you know, a lot of people are fond of saying, well, why don't they just go get a job? Well, unemployment is at about 4%. So that means that the number of SNAP recipients is about 3 times the unemployment rate. So, I don't know, how about employers pay their people what they're worth, right? And then maybe they wouldn't need SNAP benefits because 2 out of every 3, assuming that all of the unemployed are receiving SNAP benefits, 2 out of every 3 are working. 2 out of every 3 are working. So, get a job doesn't cut it. That's not a legitimate answer. Well, go get a better job. Yeah, where? Some people just don't have the ability to do that, whether it be because they lack the skills or there's not a good job market in their area or whatever, you know. I mean, maybe they are just in a just in a place where that's all that's available is low-paying jobs. You know, and a lot of these are in places where we have poor education as well. Therefore, they're not able to get educated in order to get a better job. And by states like that, I'm talking about, you know, Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana, Oklahoma, Arkansas. Some of the worst education and some of the highest number of recipients of SNAP benefits are in those states. Maybe that's connected. You ever think about that? Maybe it's connected. And you know what? You want to talk about, you know, all those liberals that are mooching off the system. And yet, when is the last time any of those states voted for the Democrats? Last time would have been 1996 for any of them. Any of them. So, Red states. Red states. So, we have SNAP benefits about to not be paid out, not because we can't because of the government shutdown, because guess what? SNAP benefits were paid out during the last government shutdown, which, by the way, happened on Trump's watch back in 2018 or 19. It was 2018 into 2019, if I remember correctly. It was during his term. Actually, he had 2 shutdowns in his first term. This is the 3rd one that he's had now. By the way, in 8 years, Obama had 1. And in 4 years, Biden had 0. So, more isn't always better. Then again, we're talking about a guy who got impeached twice in 4 years. So, and he's done things to be impeached half a dozen more times. So, what's going to happen here? People are going hungry, right? They're going to be going hungry throughout the month of November, at least. Food pantries, they're going to be hurting, right? Because of all the additional people that they're going to have to feed. And then what happens? These people don't have their SNAP benefits, therefore they're not going to the grocery stores because they can't afford the food. So now the grocery stores are losing money because they get reimbursed for the SNAP benefits. So now what happens, right? Grocery stores ain't making any money. And if they're not making money, well, they don't get to pay their employees, do they? Or they have to pay their employees less. Who's going to take a pay cut? Nobody I know would take a pay cut. Well, they're going to have to start laying off, right? So now we have more unemployed people who, by the way, are going to need these SNAP benefits that are not being paid out. And at the same time, because the grocery stores aren't making any money, they have to make it up somehow. So those of us who are not receiving SNAP benefits are going to have to pay more. Yeah, we're going to bring grocery prices down, right? That's what we were told. Day one, we're going to bring grocery prices down. Because it's an old-fashioned word. Nobody says that word anymore. Groceries. Whatever, dude. Guy is so fucking out of touch, senile, and demented. And the people around him are cheering this. Now, we should, ideally, in a perfect world, want an end to SNAP because there is no need for it. But this is not a perfect world, is it? Which means there will always be a need for it. And because there is a need, we need to take care of our own. We need to take care of our own. And, there are a lot of churches out there that will help feed people. Some don't, though. Some don't. So, we've got, this is supposedly a Christian nation, right? And all these people who are cheering on the SNAP benefits not being paid out, most of them call themselves Christians. And there are some Christian churches not helping their local communities, right? Have you opened up the New Testament at all? Ever? Feed the hungry. Give the thirsty something to drink. Clothe the naked. Heal the sick. Visit the prisoner. Whatever you did for the least of these, you did for me. That's what Jesus said about it. And where are they? Where are the so-called Christians? Oh, you're quick to brag about being a Christian. You're quick to brag about it. You don't care. There are so-called Christians out there who actually heard the words of Jesus in their churches and asked the pastor, where'd you get those liberal woke talking points? Out of the New Testament. Out of the New Testament. Those are the direct words of Jesus. So, if you're not going to follow the letters in red, maybe stop calling yourself a Christian. If you hate people and you want people to starve and you don't like them because they're poor and whatnot, just say so. Just say it. But stop pretending you're a damn Christian because you're not. You are not. Taking the Lord's name in vain is not just, God damn it, it's claiming that you follow Jesus. And then you don't. You don't do what he says. So 42 million people are about to starve. And the people in Washington won't do a damn thing about it. In fact, not only will they not do a damn thing about it, in fact, Donald Trump himself deliberately made the choice to allow it to happen. Actually, you know what? He is so stupid and incompetent, he probably didn't. It was probably Stephen Miller. Whatever. It was whoever's in this fascist regime. Yeah. Such great Christians, aren't they? Yeah, fascism is here. Fascism is here. You want to starve the poor. You want to blame your political enemies. When, you know what, even if the government is shut down, they can pay the SNAP benefits. So, you know what? Stop calling yourself a Christian unless you're going to actually follow the words of Jesus. And if I'm being truthful here, atheists and agnostics are more Christian than most people who call themselves Christians in this country. Whether they've actually read the Bible or not, they follow the teachings. Most of them. So, yeah. A little bit disgusted that 42 million Americans, 12% of our population, is about to starve, and the administration deliberately made that decision. I'll see you next time.